Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20, and as you can see, I'm hanging out in a brand new test world with a brand new set of items. And I've even got this neat little item down here called a crafting guide. It's very similar to the recipe book that Risugami made, and you can see there's a scroll bar and it's a lot easier to see things. And if you're paying attention to this recipe guide, you'll quickly see that I've got a Philosopher's Stone. That's right, this is time for the mod spotlight of... drumroll please. Equivalent Exchange version 5.3.2 is the current version. Xeno has just posted it today. I'm just going to call it 5.x going forward because this guy is kicking butt with this mod. He is working super hard. I believe at this point he's been up for 28 hours. I just spoke to him a little earlier ago, and he's been constantly fixing the minor bugs that have cropped up since he posted 5.3.0 earlier today. So he's already up to 5.3.2. And he completely revamped this mod significantly, to the point where I'm really going to have to spend some time going over it with you guys. So this is going to be part 1 of my Equivalent Exchange version 5.x mod spotlight. I'm going to try and cover the basics of what he's changed going forward, and you're going to have to watch for my next videos coming up. I'll probably at least have 2 or 3 parts to cover exactly what's changed. You can expect that almost every aspect of the mod has been changed, at least in some small way, almost all for the better and more balanced, and things are really quite different. So without further ado, why don't I get started on some of the things that you're going to need to know for this mod change. Alright, I'll be back shortly. Alright guys, before I get started here, I just want to mention that yes, I am using TMI, but the only reason I'm using that is because I'm doing a spotlight and a tutorial. This mod is a lot of fun, and it's really awesome, but it really kind of kills the fun if you're going to use TMI and just give yourself all the items. That's really not what the intention is. So I highly recommend you play this game legit, and I highly recommend you check out this mod Equivalent Exchange legitimately. Yes, the items that you get are very expensive and take some time, but they're all totally worth it and a lot of fun to use once you work your way up to being able to use them. So again, TMI is enabled, but I don't recommend using it when you're playing the mod. Alright? Alright guys, before I get started on this, I just gotta say, there's so many changes in this. Again, I want to mention that there are so many changes in this, I'm even having trouble finding out where to start. So I decided the best place to start is probably with the Philosopher's Stone. This guy hasn't changed too much from what you're probably familiar with, but it definitely has seen some improvements. So let's get started with this guy. As you're probably familiar with, if you right-click on the ground, it looks at whatever's in your inventory here, and will create a wall based on what's in your inventory. The item that you have the most of, so in this case I had the most cobblestone, so that's what it used. All well and good, very nifty. And you can of course charge it up to make bigger walls. Yo, that guy's big. So why don't I clean that up? So that's the basic gist of what you can do. And of course you can charge it to different levels to determine the size of the walls that you're going to make. And of course, as you can see, I'm running with Industrial Craft as well here. Alright, so that's the Philosopher's Stone, not terribly changed. You should also know, however, that just like in the old version, you can press G to switch whether you go Creation Mode or Extension Mode. Creation Mode will create the blocks right on top of where you're at, so you can see it's kind of creating, whereas Extension Mode extends whatever block you click on. Very cool. So that's what G does. You can also use C to bring up a crafting window. So your Philosopher's Stone literally acts as an automated crafting table that you can carry around in your inventory. This is really, really cool. So let's say we had some wooden planks. We can grab a stick, and you can grab some iron bars or whatever you want, and make yourself a pickaxe. And then close out, and you're back in the field. So again, that's C to bring up the crafting table. So Philosopher's Stone doubles as a crafting table. Super awesome. If you charge up your Philosopher's Stone and press C, you now have a transmutation table. This is a very complex system that you're definitely going to have to read up on and watch some of my videos on. I'm not going to go into everything here, but a lot of the similar things that you guys are used to in the transmutation area still apply. You can take, for example, iron and convert it to gold. Now, this is really different actually, because while a lot of things are similar, basically what Xeno has done is he's gone through the mod and he's applied a EMC value here. Okay, I think that's it stands for energy matter currency, or you can just call it energy. That's pretty much what it is. So every item has an energy value, and I'll go into this a little bit more as we get into the mod. But basically, let's take an iron bar for example. An iron bar is worth 96 energy. A gold bar is worth 384 energy. And you can see that if you take 96 and multiply it by 4, you get 384. Go ahead, get out your calculator. I did too. This math adds up. So what Xeno has done is he's applied a numerical value to how much most of the items in the game are worth. And once you have those items in your transmutation table, you can use that energy, quote-unquote, to get items out. So for example, I can take this iron ingot, right? Let's see what a bone is worth. Do I have any bones here? There we go. Okay. So a bone is worth 72 energy, according to this mod. The iron ingot is worth 96, and if I take a bone out of the right side of this crafting table, I'm left with 24 energy remaining in the transmutation table. So that's 96 minus whatever it was, and now when I place the bone back, I get my 96 back. Pretty spiffy. Once I've taken the bone out, I can get, whatever's left here. So I can take a piece of bread, which is apparently worth 24. From bread, I can get raw pork chops, which are also worth 24. I can get cobwebs, which are also worth 24. Or I can get a trap door, which is worth 12. Now I've got 12 left, and I can either grab another trap door, or I can grab, a redstone torch is worth 10. So you can see an arrow is worth 2. That's kind of how this whole transmutation thing works. An iron pickaxe is worth 292, it looks like. So I guess that's the 3 iron from 96. Let's see. 288. So yeah, that's probably a combination of the 288 plus whatever those 2 sticks are worth. What's a stick worth? 2. So 4 plus 288 equals 292. There you go. So this is the way the transmutation table works, is it takes the value of an item, quote-unquote EMC value, or energy, and basically directly converts it. So I can place 4 gold bars in this table, like you would normally would in equivalent exchange, and get yourself a diamond, which is worth 1,536 energy. See how that works? Very, very cool. So that's the transmutation table. It's definitely something you're going to want to look into. There's a lot to it, obviously, as you can see. And handily, it tells you what your inventory, what your values are. Now you'll notice that cobblestone, when you try to place it in this table, goes and drops on the ground, because you can no longer use cobblestone as a value. But you can, I think, use smooth stone? Yes, smooth stone does have a value of 4. So you can see if I lay out my smooth stone in a pattern of 8, that gives me 32. I can make, all kinds of stuff. You're really going to want to play around with some of the patterns that you can come up with here, and you'll figure out how this works. So that's the transmutation GUI, and it looks like it's getting a little bit late here, so why don't I take a nap, and I'll be back to show some more of the items. Alright guys, so the next thing I want to show you is what used to be the glowstone aggregator is now called the energy collector, and this recipe has changed a little bit. First off, you're going to need a diamond block, but just one luckily, a piece of glass, a furnace, and some glowstone. Gives you the energy collector. This item has changed significantly, and you'll know that by opening up the interface and saying, whoa, what's going on? Good question, but I'm going to explain this for you, so don't worry about it. Let's start out by saying that the energy collector absorbs energy from light. Sunlight obviously being the most powerful. You can also place a glowstone block, and you can also place a torch. What's different about this is that the light only is affected on the top of the block. It's not all 6 sides like it used to be. So now you only have to light the top. You can place an interdiction torch here, place just a regular torch, or you can let the sunlight do it. Whatever you want is all good. What collectors do is they convert fuel. In the game, the equivalent exchange mod, Xeno has modified values, like you saw with the crafting table. He's got a form of energy storage that each piece of fuel can produce. So let's go into the different types of fuel. So the different types of fuel are redstone, sugar, coal, glowstone dust, gunpowder, glowstone blocks, alchemical coal, and finally the ultimate type of fuel is Mobius fuel. These are what are going to charge some of the other machines that have been changed in equivalent exchange. Redstone and sugar appear, for all intents and purposes, to be identical in terms of their fuel values. And by placing a piece of fuel in the bottom slot here, or in the left slots here, you can see that these slots will automatically move over to this slot eventually. It will upgrade those pieces of fuel to the next level by collecting sunlight and infusing that fuel with sunlight, and it works over a period of time. So let's just take my word for the fact that sugar and redstone work pretty much the same. And I'm going to place one piece of redstone over here on the left. You'll see it automatically zips over here and starts absorbing sunlight, and it goes from redstone to coal to glowstone dust to gunpowder to glowstone blocks to alchemical coal, and finally it'll upgrade up to Mobius fuel. And you can see it takes longer for certain levels than others. This one's obviously a bit slower, and the next level is going to be slower than that. And to get all the way up to the Mobius fuel is going to take a little bit of time, but not a terribly large amount. You can also place multiple items in, and it'll upgrade the stack at a time. So you can see this redstone, all 5 pieces of redstone are going to convert to coal. Once this stack is done, it gets dumped back over here, and then automatically sucked back over here to be converted again. It'll probably happen so fast it'll look like it immediately jumps down. But if I put some redstone over here, and just move this coal out of the way, you'll see the glowstone moved over, and the redstone came over. Let's just speed this process up a little bit. So then the glowstone comes over, and it's going to slowly convert its way up to gunpowder. Now I'm going to leave this be for a few minutes and just let that glowstone go, and I'll be back to check on it in a moment. You can see it just converted to gunpowder. And I should mention that gunpowder automatically becomes alchemical coal, and I believe that alchemical coal and glowstone have a similar amount of fuel component. And this alchemical coal is going to take a little while to get up to the Mobius area, so why don't we leave the alchemical coal in here? Actually, I'll just leave all 3 alchemical coal that I've accumulated here, and we'll move on to the next item while we wait for this to move. So that was the energy collector, and again, you can see the recipe here. The next item I want to show you guys is the energy condenser, and that's again made with 1 block of diamond, a couple obsidian, some glass, and some stone. So why don't I get those materials ready? There we go, crafting table. Got this stuff put together. Energy condenser. This is what's going to automatically migrate your items for you. This is another completely different interface that you guys are probably going to look at and say, well, I'm confused. Don't worry about it. It's very easy, as a matter of fact. Down here is where you can put your fuel. This is the fuel that we're making over here. Fuel goes in this bottom slot, and the amount of energy that the fuel has, the energy value of the fuel, is what we're talking about now, is going to be converted and stored in the blocks that we put up here. This is your input buffer. You can place all your items in these 6 slots here, and they'll automatically be zipped over here and be processed. Those items will then absorb the energy from the fuel and output items over here. And this side will collect your entire output. This is the target block, which I'll explain in a moment. So let's start off with redstone. I'm just going to put, I don't know, let's say 6 redstone in here. You can see it zipped over and started burning. Now we obviously need to place an item in, so let's convert cobblestone and see where we get with it. We get a good amount of redstone, powering, and finally it automatically went over to iron. So it's took all the energy out of the redstone and converted it to iron. Pretty spiffy. We can also throw a piece of coal in there, and that's going to put more energy into the process. And of course we can go with sugar, which is going to burn pretty much the same efficiency as redstone. We could grab some gunpowder if we wanted to, just to demonstrate the fact that that can also be used as a fuel. And gunpowder, remember, was higher on the list than the other items. It was above glowstone dust even. So that's burning for longer than the coal or the redstone did. Once this arrow finishes here, the iron is going to be converted to gold and brought right back in, and we'll begin processing again. So while all these items are great, let's go over here and check out, oh look, our alchemical coal has become Mobius fuel. Mobius fuel is the top piece of fuel available at this time. We can place our Mobius fuel in here, and this guy's going to burn for a significantly long period of time. And of course it's going to take even longer for our gold to upgrade, but the next upgrade of course is diamond. Very, very cool. So why don't we hold off for a bit and see what happens. While this guy is working on its gold, I'm going to go ahead and grab, looks like my alchemical coal is not fully converted just yet. So why don't I just grab myself a piece of Mobius fuel, if I can find it here in TMI. There it is. And I'm also going to grab for myself a piece of gold. And I've made another condenser here, because I want to show you what this target is all about. If you place an item in the target block, that's as far as the transmutation will go before stopping. So if you do not have an item in the target block, it will work its way all the way up from gold to a diamond block, to a dark matter block, up to dark matter. So you can see it just went to diamond, and it's still working its way up. Now diamonds, of course, require a lot of energy to get up to the diamond block stage, because it's equivalent to the amount of 9 diamonds. Of course, you don't have to use a condenser. You can just, do this however you want. You can still build your dark matter blocks and your diamond blocks the old-fashioned way, but this is a way of converting your fuel into results. And the fuel you're getting by collecting sunlight and infusing items with power. So, like I said, place your target item in the target block here, give this guy some fuel, and place some cobblestone in here, and it's going to work its way up to diamond. And I believe because I put a whole stack in, it might be processing the whole stack at once. Is that the case? I don't know. Yeah, believe it or not, this is the first time I put an entire stack in, so let's see what happens. Well, almost an entire stack. Oh, you can see it just directly went to gold. So it skipped the iron level and went straight to gold. That's what it did. Makes sense. So by placing a target block in here, instead of, as you saw earlier, let's see, if we take the target block out, it's just going to go straight to iron, which is fine. And then once it finishes with the iron, it's going to switch over and start processing gold, and then diamond, etc. But by placing a target block in there, it winds up going straight to gold and doesn't do those intermediary steps, which is really kind of cool if you think about it. Of course, it's going to take the same amount of time and energy to go and use those intermediary steps as they normally would have. And you can see while I was recording that whole area, we've only made barely a smidge of progress here, going from diamond to diamond block. It takes a good amount of energy and time, so I'm going to grab another Mobius fuel here and just throw that in to the bottom slot. And you can see as soon as the energy ran out, it started going again. And it's going to take a good amount of time, trust me. Diamond to diamond block is a while. So that basically covers the condenser. Very cool, very nifty. Let's move on to the next item. The next item I want to show you is the antimatter relay. However, to show you the antimatter relay, I need to show you how to make dark matter blocks. Well, it's pretty straightforward. We need some obsidian, we need some Mobius fuel, and we need 3 blocks of diamond to get 1 dark matter block. Then you're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 dark matter blocks to get 1 antimatter relay. So let's do that now. So I've gone ahead and gifted myself some of these items, and you get a dark matter block for this pattern. I'm going to go ahead and grab 8 of those dark matter blocks, and you're going to need to create another one of those energy collectors, which I'm sure I can find here somewhere. There it is. Surround that with your dark matter blocks, and you're going to get the antimatter relay. This is the last machine, quote-unquote, that I'm going to show you guys in this episode. So let's plunk this guy down and look at his interface. So you're probably going to look here and say, what's going on? Don't worry, it's really, actually, almost trivially easy. Remember I mentioned earlier, if I charge this guy up, that every item has an energy value. So iron, for example, has 96 energy. Gold, for example, has 384 energy. If you place a piece of iron, it's going to burn it up and store 96 energy. Pretty cool. Piece of gold, it's going to store up, and you can see it's creating some neat little purple particle effects. How neat is that? It's basically breaking down your items and storing energy. Okay? Now, what is this energy used for? Well, there's a couple things. First off, let's place this guy. Now, by breaking him and placing him again, we lost the energy that we stored, but that's on you for being silly by doing that, like me. You can assist the condenser by connecting on a horizontal plane, so one of these four sides of the condenser, not on the top or bottom, a relay. And if we say throw some obsidian in there, it's going to take some energy out of the obsidian. It's basically like a recycler, and it's going to assist our transfer here from diamond into a block of diamond. It's actually going to speed this guy up. So let's get a few more antimatter relays, just so you guys can see the effect. And I'm going to hand myself something that's worth a lot of energy. If I open up my crafting table now, you can see a block of diamond is worth 13,824 energy, quite a bit. So why don't I just put a couple of these in here, a couple of these in here. Just for the effect, you can see that this progress bar is going to move significantly faster now because it's got 4 antimatter relays helping it along. The energy from these antimatter relays is being dumped into the condenser. So once this final burning thing is done, we'll see how it looks. So as you can see, now that the flame symbol has disappeared, we're no longer recycling the block of diamond that was in there, and the energy in this relay is disappearing. And you can see we quickly made it up to the block of diamond level, and it's rapidly moving along. So again, this is a way of recycling your items and storing EMC energy in a relay, and then transferring that energy directly into a condenser. What else is pretty neat, if I grab another one of these guys, nope, wrong one, antimatter relay, and place it in here, let's put, you can see the progress bar moving along. Let's actually just do this. And place a block in here. Look how much quickly this is moving. Quicker. Much quicker, as a matter of fact. So not only does the relay power your condenser, it also helps to power along your collector and basically makes it run faster. Now obviously you're not going to normally be throwing blocks of diamond into an antimatter relay to destroy them just to make more Mobius fuel. That would be kind of silly. So you can easily place some cobblestone in there, which of course isn't worth nearly as much energy as a block of diamond. And there's a whole bunch of items you can place in here. And as a matter of fact, you gain 200% of the EMC value and 250% of the fuel type item EMC value. So basically what's going to happen here is you get more juice than you would have otherwise when you put items in the relay and use them to charge up your collectors and your condensers. And you can see this condenser now has finally made a piece of dark matter. I want to let you guys know, real quick, that the only way to make dark matter is by using a condenser. There is no longer a recipe in the game that will give you dark matter. You need to take a dark matter block and place in a condenser. And I think these guys, the relays are probably, no, there's still some energy in them. The condenser is the only way to get dark matter, and that comes from a dark matter block going in the condenser. So there you go. So those are the 3 machines that are now available in equivalent exchange. The collector collects sunlight and infuses fuel with more energy. The condenser condenses items into more advanced versions of the item. So you can convert iron to gold, and gold to diamond, and diamond to blocks of diamond, etc. And your dark matter relay will eat up any items that you place in there and convert it directly into energy. One more aspect of the dark matter relay that I'll cover for you guys is the Klein star. If you recall, a new item was added to the latest version of Equivalent Exchange called the Klein star, and there's actually 5 levels of it, and they all have different abilities. The main focus of the Klein star in this mod, in this version of the mod, is that it's no longer an infinite source of energy, but it basically works like a battery for EMC. So let's take, for example, the Klein star, and you can look up the recipe online, but let's take a level 1 Klein star. Yoink. It's an empty battery as of this point, and if I place it in this lightning bolt slot here, it's going to drain the EMC out of that relay, the antimatter relay, and store it in the Klein star. So the Klein star works basically, like I said, as a battery. The level 1 version of the Klein star can store 160,000 EMC. And the level 5 version of the Klein star can store 2.56 million EMC. That's a lot of energy. And it's going to go a long way towards powering your machines. You can see I just dumped a whole bunch of energy into this guy, and he barely made his way along at all. He stores a lot of juice. And you can use your Klein star as power in your condensers. And by storing your Klein star in your condenser, it basically keeps the fuel burning and allows blocks to progress along. So the Klein star basically works as the ultimate fuel source. You can store energy from your antimatter relays in your Klein star, and then use your Klein star to charge up your condensers and make progress on your blocks of diamond migrating over to dark matter. And of course, because we don't have the antimatter relays around this guy, moving from block of diamond to dark matter is a very long process. So, that's going to wrap up the section on these machines. The final item I want to cover in this piece of the spotlight, and like I said, there's a lot more to go over, but the final item I want to cover in part 1 of the spotlight here is the pedestal. This is a pretty cool item, if I do say so myself. The first time I saw this, I said, whoa, that is awesome. The recipe here calls for dark matter blocks and red matter. What's red matter, you say? Red matter is an energized form of dark matter. You place a piece of dark matter in your collector, and this has the 1 relay next to it, so it's helping it along. And it's moving along and slowly working its way up to red matter. So why don't we give it a few minutes and get red matter out of this collector. Alright, all done. We got some red matter. Awesome. And since I need a little bit more, I'm just going to get myself some out of TMI, as well as the dark matter block that I'm going to need here. Yeah, that's all I need. So let's make ourselves a pedestal. Very cool item, again made with red matter. And the pedestal is pretty neat, if I do say so myself. Just place it down on the ground, and it sits there. And if you hold shift, as if you're sneaking along the ground, right click, you can open up the interface. Just right clicking without holding shift will not open up the interface. You can hear it's making a funky noise, it's not happy with you. So hold shift to open up the interface. And then you can see that there's 1 block on the pedestal to place an item. Let's place one of our old familiar alchemical power items that we're familiar with. You can see they're all still here from before. Let's place an Evertide amulet on the pedestal, for example. Aw, isn't that pretty? Evertide amulet just sitting there. Now, for 4 red matter and some dark matter blocks, this thing better do more than just showcase a little item. Wonder what happens if I right click on it now. Ooh, pretty. If I... Interesting. What if I place a Vulcanite amulet in there instead of an Evertide amulet? Ah, very cool. So what you're telling me is, by placing items on a pedestal, some of the effects of the item can be made apparent. What's also really cool, you guys are going to love this, I certainly did, it works on redstone. Now, I'm not going to show you every item that works on this pedestal, but I will show one more. How about the black hole band, for example? That's right. A majority of these items will work on that pedestal. You're going to have to experiment on your own to find out what all the different items do when placed on a pedestal and the pedestal is activated. And if you do place a chest next to the pedestal, you can see all the items landed in the chest. How nice is that? Very nice, as a matter of fact. And just right-click the pedestal again to turn it off. So guys, I think that should wrap up episode 1 of the Mod Spotlight for Equivalent Exchange version 5.x. I hope you guys have learned how to do some of the new things that this mod gives to you, and I hope that you found this informational and exciting, because I really want you guys to go check out this mod and enjoy it. It's really a lot of fun. So this is Direwolf20 signing off on episode 1. Look forward to episode 2, where I'll probably come see some of the awesome new tools and items that he added to the mod. I'll just give you a teaser to let you know that the dark matter items have gotten a bit of an upgrade, and there are now red matter versions of the items, which is pretty neat. And some of these items here, the Swift Wolf's Rending Gale and the Harvest Goddess Band and the Watch of Flowing Time, have been changed just a bit. If this is your first time checking out my video, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I do a lot of Minecraft videos, specifically featuring mods and Let's Plays. Go ahead and check out some of my other videos, and please leave comments. I like to read the comments you guys leave for me. So, hope you guys look forward to episode 2, and I'll catch y'all later. Take it easy.